Hello, David Penn here, coming to you from the studios of Free People Radio in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the belly of the beast, talking about President Trump's tour of the Middle East. What's going on? What does it mean? President Trump was in Qatar, that's QATAR, Qatar, also Qatar. I call it Qatar. I'm not quite sure what the locals call it, but the visit there by President Trump was very successful. President Trump met with the Emir of Qatar. What is an Emir? An Emir is a king. They have a monarchy in Qatar. Qatar has been ruled by the same family lineage since, guess when? 1825. 1825. Let's listen to President Trump talking with the Emir, the king of Qatar.
Well, I have to say that we've been friends for a long time. Hard to believe, right? I remember that first meeting very well. And we've liked each other and we've worked with each other. And now we can work in the highest capacity. And we'll bring peace not only here, but I know you're very much involved in helping us in other regions, like what's happening with Russia, Ukraine, etc. And I think we're having some pretty good news coming out of there today and maybe tomorrow and maybe Friday, frankly. But we'll see about that. But I just want to thank you for everything, and maybe in particular our friendship. It's been a very loyal, great, beautiful friendship. And the job you've done is second to none. You look at this, it's so beautiful. As a construction person, I'm seeing perfect marble. This is what they call perfecto. And just a great job you've done, and what a beautiful place. And we appreciate those camels. I haven't seen camels like that in a long time. And that was some greeting. We appreciate it very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You have a lot of fun.
Thank you, sir.
Wow, what a scene that is. That's President Trump hobnobbing with a king. And there's all this warp and woof in the media that President Trump likes being in the Middle East because he wants to be a king, and that there's these allegations, this, that, thus, and so. What's really going on with the Qatar visit? Qatar, if you go look at a map, is so strategic. It actually is a landmass that juts out right into the Persian Gulf. It is a stone's throw from Iran. In fact, the United States Military Central Command is located in Qatar. Our largest military installations in the Middle East are not in Israel. They're actually in Qatar, the biggest Air Force base, the biggest forward deployment of both troops and materiel in case a general war breaks out in the region. It's all in Qatar. And Qatar is roundly criticized by certain segments of the American foreign policy establishment because of its ties to the Muslim Brotherhood and because it established Al Jazeera, which is a Middle East news and information platform. Well, let's just think about Qatar. Qatar's been there with its current leadership since 1825. Qatar is aligned with the West. What more evidence do you need than Qatar is our forward military base and the home of Central Command's headquarters? That's the facts. That cannot be hidden. Now, why would the Emir of Qatar be involved with the Muslim Brotherhood or start Al Jazeera when he obviously speaks such fine English and is so closely aligned with the United States of America? And that is because, like in every country, there are different power groups, different constituencies that live in that kingdom, in that emirate. Some of those constituents are traditional, Orthodox, and perhaps radical Muslim elements. How do you stay alive when you're the king, when you got people that are all too happy to blow themselves up in the name of the cause? Well, you put them on the payroll. You put them on the payroll. Once they're on the payroll, They're on the payroll. You fund their operations. Now let's just think this through to the next step. If the United States of America has its largest military installations in the Middle East in Qatar, and the king, the emir of Qatar, has radical Muslim elements on the payroll, can we imagine that there could be some coordination between our security services, Qatar's security services, the militaries, and these so-called Muslim extremists? On this same trip, President Trump just went and met the new leader of Syria, who is reputed to be the former head of Al Qaeda in Syria. And where did Al Qaeda come from? It came from Afghanistan. We all remember Osama bin Laden. How did that deal get set up? Well, all the way back to the Reagan administration when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan and took it over and installed their own dictator there, Najibullah. The United States CIA recruited, with the help of the Pakistanis and other interested parties in the region, recruited native Afghan Muslims and organized them into a military force called the Mujahideen, who later, after the Soviets were expelled, became Al Qaeda. So these boundaries between East and West, between secular and religious, between terrorists and who's funding them, these boundaries are quite blurred. And the emir of Qatar, who clearly is aligned with the West. In fact, President Trump announced on this trip that Qatar Airlines, controlled, of course, by the emir, has bought up to $200 billion worth of Boeing jets to be delivered over the next few years. Yes, Qatar is an American outpost. Qatar funds Islamic fundamentalists for survival purposes. It's not that hard to understand. And if Qatar is funding Islamic extremists, well, don't you think that the United States government knows about it and is all in on the deal? I don't have any 8x10 glossies, but it certainly seems plausible and even possible to me. Thank you very much for joining. I look forward to seeing you soon again.